Hello, it's artisan crafter Amy, and I'm so glad to be here today. I had been a little under the weather, and when it kind of lingered on, I did take a home COVID test, and yikes, in case you haven't seen one, it came out positive. But I'm not feeling, I'm on the better half of it. I believe I'm on the mend and through the worst of it. So I wanted to do some flip through videos of things I've already put in my Etsy shop. And thank you again, a big shout out and thank you to Heather, who purchased yesterday that we were messaging back and forth. And I know others a shout out as well. I've had so many kind customers at my shop, but being sick, I will say, I'm still not quite at my sharpest. I have a little bit of that brain fog they talk about. So I don't want to depress or upset anybody, but I really have been, dying to find time to get and to share this cute little baby book keepsake gift set that I've done for my Etsy shop. I've done it maybe with a baby girl in mind, but really these boxes are for the mommy, the parent who's going to be assembling it all and working in it. And if you have a very masculine child, they will never care for it, but their wife will, so ultimately this is probably going to be for someone who is on the more feminine side. And what with various gender identities, who knows how your child may identify later, whether you believe in that or not. Unless you live in a cave, I think your child will become aware of that and make their own decision, judging by, all of the various gender identities that children of all ages are experiencing, in this generation. So not to go on about that, be social or political, it just seemed important that maybe the gender of this might not be important as you might think. And sometimes the doctors are wrong. They tell you one gender, you end up with the other gender. So it is somewhat gender neutral, but the florals do make it girly. The darker colors, I thought, made it more gender neutral or non-binary, if you will. And then here's the box that I've done. And then I have these new box latches instead of Velcro, and you could even twist it and like really lock it down. These nice jewelry box latches. And then these lovely clawed feet that you might have seen if you saw my Oz video. And it just makes it such an elegant home decor piece, or for the baby's bedroom, particularly before it's born or out of the nursery, to put on the dresser in your nursery or something. This would just be so lovely. And just talk about the nicest gift. Can you imagine getting something like this as a mommy to be at your baby shower? Oh, I make what I like, and I just can't imagine if somebody, I would probably cry if somebody gave me something like this. And then there it is in the lid. There's a lovely little, I like that there's a variety of ethnicities of babies in here. And sorry about bobbing the camera. And then I had my daughter-in-law, make on consignment because she's amazing. She created these little baby booties in yellow that I just thought looked so nicely with the box and with the other colors. And again, pretty gender neutral there. Here's the Tooth Fairy box, the whole kit and caboodle. I have a separate video going through that on my channel. The cutest Tooth Fairy box ever, or Tooth Fairy boxes in my Etsy shop. But we'll go through that as well. And then in this part of the box, I made a little door. And inside this, it has a place to keep other mementos, because the baby book doesn't really keep most of the things that you get. You'll have your little hospital bracelets and the baby's cord clamp and things like that you'll want to save and will be treasures for you. And so I've made this little box here to keep that in, and there's room for other little things in here. And then if the baby book wasn't being kept, if it was kept on display or on a stand, then this part of the box would be nice to keep cards in. your most sentimental cards that the baby gets upon the notice of its birth or first birthdays, things like that. This is a writing board that I like to keep inside, and wherever I tried to keep them in theme, but wherever possible, I did want to keep both the little baby genders, which are hard to tell, and ethnicities with a nice variety there. Using this book I had from Ann Getty's of her images that I picked up on one of my thrift store hauls. You might have even seen that haul video. I looked them up on eBay and they were selling for $4 a piece, free shipping. So it seemed like I could get more than $4 worth of use out of cutting the books up. And I have. So what I've done with this baby book here, let me move the box out of the way, and then hopefully I'll remember to come back and show you that Tooth Fairy box. If I don't, please go to, and I'll try to even attach it to the end, the video where I go through everything in that Tooth Fairy box. It takes almost 10 minutes alone. So I've created a cute little pocket out of this little fairy baby in the front, and it's got little sparkle and everything on it. I've used metal book corners and tried to use just the cutest, most cheerful papers I could find. And then I have these Amity Bloom, you know, postcards, journaling cards that you could either attach pictures or write memories about important events or both onto to keep your memories. You could take it with you to keep notes at the, maybe. I do have a pregnancy journal that's sort of a companion to this. I want to show in the same video here. I'll mark in the description box the time point that this starts in case you wanted to skip to that. But here's a nice little envelope that I made to keep the ultrasound pictures in, because you'll have a few of those. There's also some in the pregnancy journal, but not everybody will get the pregnancy journal. So here's a place you can keep some of your ultrasound photos folded up in there. But as you can see, if you put your photos in, they'll be in the window instead of the little baby. But into, you know, the little baby behind there is cute too, isn't she? With her little strawberry hat. And then what I found was this book of memories of baby's days, a happy record, provided, I'm guessing, to parents of, you know, employees who were becoming parents of the Star Lumber Company. I'm not quite sure how that came about, the Star Lumber Company baby book, but I thought that was cute and sweet, and it seemed very gender neutral to me, which was perfect because I would like to make many gender neutral books. I just had fallen in love with that blue floral paper I used on the box, and that's what I feel has given it more of a feminine feel. Let me make sure I'm on camera. Oh, good, before I get too much farther. But I've added more bling and lots of lace. And then these images here are from a vintage children's scrapbook. And I've scanned in all of the images from that scrapbook and then fussy cut them out to use as decoration here. And then, like most of the really bulky images that I'll put in these books, it could make writing on this page difficult, you know, with something so bulky, or this page on top of it, you know, with that big bulky thing underneath. The writing board I've included will help, but being able to pull this out is nice. And then you can also makes it easier to show people. So this is a pop-up card that I made that has room for writing and or adding small pictures. Some of those little, there's little picture printers that you can get for your phone, little instant photo printers. And I think those photos are probably just the size for something like this. Isn't that sweet? I got a new tool here. My fancy corner cutter, corner punch, a decorative corner punch, that's what it's called, and a new sari silk. I found a new supplier that just had the most lovely, delicate sari silk and the colors that she has, and most importantly the price point. It was just so affordable to buy a nice bundle of ribbon. I was too impatient. There was no haul video on that. My apologies. I just couldn't wait to get it wrapped up on cards and used. So you can see how lumpy this page is with this still in here, which is why it's removable. And I've added more bling and little fussy cut images. And again, look at this little ladybug. Can you see this? I can't say boy or girl, it's hard to tell, but this little baby, so precious. And most of it, I do think, is pretty gender neutral. So you can see throughout, I've included regular junk journal type pages, including where I've mixed in the correct order all of the pages from that vintage baby's book of memories. And then of course included inspirational quotes, which are so important for parents with young children, all parents, everybody really. But here's the page with the information about the baby's birth from the baby book. And on the other side of that was a list of gifts, maybe just ones received at the hospital. And then here's a spot with some more. And again, I really admire Ann Geddes for using a nice mix of different cultured people in her images. That I really appreciate that. And we have some little journaling cards there with some fairy tales and storybook stuff. The fairy, the fabric ruffle. I'm really pleased with how this came out. I think this might be a pocket here. Yeah. And then there's a pocket here with some stuff in it. And then this is actually part of an envelope flap, which then flips out. And inside there's more journaling cards. You could of course add more of your own things as you accumulated them. So I wanted to make lots of pockets and envelopes. And then you could keep, say, maybe a copy of the birth announcement. Should be smaller than this. They're normally quite small and would fit. That's what I was thinking when I made this, was an envelope to keep the birth announcement in. And you could put some information here about announcing the birth. And then here it says there's a picture of the place where they were born. You may or may not do that. You don't have to. And then here's a place where there's a compilation of information. And you might think you would want a lot more detail than this, but you'll find that especially after the first year, once the baby gets moving, there's a considerable, there's no time. There's just no time if you want to try to attempt to sleep at all, to try to fill in your baby book until later. So this might be nice, you know, as the baby picks up, gets too busy and it's hard to keep track of that year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, just once a year, sit down with the book. And here's a place, it says health record. I thought this might be a nice place to make notes about maybe baby's first visit to the doctor and things the doctor had to say, or a place you could maybe use some Velcro to keep the shot record attached there. The baby's first outing. Usually it's the doctor's appointment nowadays, the first trip out. But if you take a trip to the park or to go see grandma, or, you know, this could be a page where you would maybe want to tape in additional information or just tuck into here additional information about baby's first outing. Could be a great story. You know, baby's first shoes. Who gave them to little baby? You know, what did they look like? Were they little Nikes like dad's? You know, this could be a nice place. I thought this original baby book, I looked at several before I picked one that I wanted to scan in for my own purposes. And then, as often do, it'll probably end up as a digital in my shop at some point. So here's another fun little interactive element. It's a centerfold card, but what I've done is I've left lots of pockets here to leave little things that you've found. Maybe little baby drawings, a little baby hand or footprint could easily be tucked into one of these. I wanted to leave you lots of places to store things, and not only in here with the clip on here, or if you glued down the other side, you'd lose some of the images, but could be another place to tuck things in, you know, to keep more of all the cute little things that you get and that people send you. Maybe a tag that was beautiful off of a favorite dress could be glued and pasted down in here, just like a Victorian scrapbook, you know, and they weren't as elaborate about the keeping the baby's books of memories as I think we've become. So some of the baby's favorite first toys. And it might be nice to have a picture of that over here and maybe write about who gave the baby that first toy. Maybe it was beloved great auntie, you know, that gave that favorite rattle that, you know, the baby just wouldn't let go of, or things like that. And who knows when Christmas will come? Could come the day after your baby's born, right? But it's toward the back of this one here, or toward the middle. Then here's more pockets. And again, if you didn't like or weren't using the journaling cards, or you had more important, you know, actual baby memories to add to the pockets, but there's room in here for more. And just making notes of important days or outings, or I always liked writing a love letter to my baby, both before it was born and periodically, just how much I loved and anticipated their arrival initially, and then, you know, once they came, how delighted I was that they were there, and what a wonderful little person they are, and so forth. And then at various birthdays or other important events, write another love letter. Boy, you know, I couldn't be more proud. I sure love you, sweetheart. You know, that's me. So here's another pop-up card that I've added as a fun element to your baby book. There's not really any way to write on here or to add anything. It's just for fun. And then there's a ruffle of some ribbon here. Sorry if I don't sound super enthusiastic. I am still a little under the weather, although I'm feeling dramatically improved. Excuse me, all that talking got me thirsty. So for the background pages, I've used either, I believe, pages from the Amity Bloom kits, of which I have many, many, or the original pages from these baby books. And then I've mixed in with that some fairy tale scrapbooking papers. And these, of course, the vintage Victorian child scrapbooking images. So when they can brush their own teeth and wash their hands and stockings, put on my rubbers refers to rain boots, to putting on rain boots. So otherwise the date on there might be far later. Okay, and then here's about baby's parties. So I thought that would be fun, maybe baby's first birthday party. You could put pictures, a copy of the invitation. So there, case in point, I wanted to have an envelope to keep things in. And inside there, I also wanted a place to put some hair from baby's first haircut. This wouldn't have to be kept in here. Once this envelope was used for something else, that's what's so nice about the keepsake box. This would fit right in. Hold on. Would fit right in the keepsake box. And of course they won't be wearing their baby booties forever. You know, you could stack the little booties up, and you know, I really just think that these boxes with the memory books are just going to be such a wonderful treasure for some parent. And you know, I just can't imagine a nicer shower gift, you know, at the baby shower, if you want to show everybody else up. Now, I'm biased. I make these books, you know, and I've made something, you know, that I myself would treasure. So again, keep that in mind. But man, I would think that just, I would be envious of such a beautiful gift. Then the front opens as well. And you have a place to write notes and memories and to tuck something else in there. And then tie that down. I've gotten some custom orders, which I'm super excited about, or I probably would have already started on a gender neutral or maybe a slightly more boy gender themed book. No ruffles or frills, but like with little cowboys and, you know, the old-timey stuff, you know, cowboys and maybe some, I don't know. And then with all the lace and the ruffles and those adorable images that I've cut from that used book. And then I bought a digital kit from somebody who just had portrait-sized pages, not made landscape to sew into a journal. Like the book that I have here, it's 2 pages, and they're just, you know, they're made to be 2 separate pages folded in half. And theirs were made to be, each page was a separate upright page. So I printed those at reduced sizes. Of the ones I thought there, you know, there was overlap with the book I already had, but I wanted more, and I just love the images in here. Were so sweet. So I bought this kit. This has cut the little petticoats all roundabout. So I would think you could cut some buttons or some lace off of the first totally destroyed garment, you know, that was sentimental. Or this was for when you handmade things for the baby. You would keep little scraps, you know, of what you had handmade the baby's things with. You know, but nowadays I would say, you know, things are going to get stained or destroyed, caught into something, you know, caught into the zipper of something in the wash, or, you know, and then maybe just keep it that way. Or take a photo of that favorite little bit of christening dress, or some you know, the dress Granny made, or something like that. You could keep a photo of that. There's several ways I thought that this could be used aside from its intended purpose of the scraps from your sewing of your baby's gown. And then this is when the baby first laughs. You know, there could be a picture. You could write down the people who were there, the people who wished they were but weren't there. And this is all alone-y, but see the tumbly little baby on there? Isn't that just the sweetest? And then, and I think that's first steps. It's another one for first steps, but you could, again, another picture, or to make some notes, or you could just put something else down that they did by themselves for the first time they tied their shoe, or, you know, you decide. It's about doing something all by themselves. Not, I think, walking, but it didn't have to be that. It's kind of pretty. There's nothing in the pocket. And then I've just put a couple small tags and things in here that you could write on, or use the pocket to put things, you know, that were more personal or sentimental to you. Again, birthday party invitations or notes or cards that were small that would look cute in the pocket. Again, if you clipped these with paper clips onto the pages, then you would have room there to, you know, to put more things. Use the pockets for some of the other things, or if you weren't going to use the cards, that leaves that open. So yes, I just love how this came out. I don't think that I had, you know, the cover isn't high contrast. It's all neutral background with and I've learned from experience that doesn't photograph well. I just make what I like, and I should have taken more of an eye to how will this photograph, because I think that's the only reason no one has bought it yet. That, or that I wasn't able to do a full look through on how absolutely adorable it is. And I tried to really give a thought to all the little things that are most important to keep: the little locks of hair, and that cord clamp, and the hospital bracelets. So yep, that was great. And then this is a companion. If you're not interested in a pregnancy journal, too late for you. Your pregnancy's passed and you don't plan on having another. I say companion because I used coordinating papers that I'd used in the other one. But there's no other reason that they would be considered coordinating. So what I thought with this one is that as lovely as the baby books are, I have 2 children, and I tried to do baby books with both of them, and I tried even harder the second time for having failed pretty miserably the first time. You know, I don't think I made it, you know, past 6 months. I have had to, you know, work full time and things like that, you know, so it wasn't as if I had a nanny and plenty of spare time or anything. to work on the baby book, which is how I feel like some people must. Or I do really value my sleep when I'm able, you know, so maybe that's it. Maybe they just never slept so they could keep perfect baby books. But it seemed like when I really had all the time, on one of my pregnancies, I was on bed rest for months, was before the baby's born, when you have all the planning and all the thoughts and the dreaming, and you don't have a baby to care for. So it, you know, especially if it's your first child, you don't have a baby to care for, and you'll have more time on your hands. So the other thing I thought you could use this for, you know, maybe you're not a first mother and that documenting your pregnancy, you know, you're still busy with children going to school, you're working. This could be just the funnest to bring with you to your doctor's appointment, wouldn't it? Can you imagine bringing this to take notes in? I've done not quite this nice. I wasn't this good when I made something, but the doctor did comment on it, and my husband was a little bit offended because we were there to talk to his cardiologist. And I think the cardiologist was just being polite to me to put our nerves at ease. But my husband was like, yeah, he went on and on with you about that fancy notebook you made to bring to the appointment. And, you know, before he even started talking about my heart surgery. Again, I just think it was his wonderful bedside manner and not, you know, less to do with how fabulous my notebook was. But I did make it cardiology specialized, you know, graphic illustrations that only a cardiologist would probably appreciate and things like that. So anyhow, this is the pregnancy journal. And this way the mother can document her pregnancy and plan. So I'll show you what I've had here. On the cover, I thought it would be fun to have a nice pop-up element. It gave the cover lots of dimension and color. And it's a real pal. There is room to take notes. Maybe tape your obstetrician's card here, and then the business card of your doula. I've had one. I have terrible back labor and labors that last 2 days or more, in less intervention. So without intervention, so a doula was incredibly, and my husband was so glad that he thought he was resentful of her at first, but later he said it was the smartest thing we ever did because he needed breaks, and I wouldn't have wanted him to leave my side, you know, especially with the very long labors that last over days. They want to eat and sleep and, you know, things. So anyways, it is a nice place to keep things, as well as being cute, and a little bit of a show-off or conversation piece at the obstetrician's, if you so choose. I love to chat with strangers, and although I don't have any need of helping finding topic of conversation, you know, I have no problem coming up with things to chat with strangers about. All right, so I did a double bow on this one. It's an altered file folder, and I put more pockets on the back with a journaling card, and here's where you could keep notes or doctor's appointment schedules or things like that. Lab slips. And here again, another pocket, and I marked it birthing plan because I thought people who are interested, I know I had a pretty elaborate birthing plan. I had used some software outline or sample and then filled in and printed out, and I thought this was a place you could have that folded up and kept with you. And then of course this can go with you to the hospital. Another way I thought this is a nice companion to the baby book is that this is where the baby's journey really begins, is with the mother's pregnancy story and getting to the birth. It includes all the ultrasounds and mommy's belly and just all kinds of things that you can include in the baby book. You certainly could. But again, I think you have more time for documenting the pregnancy during the pregnancy. So I put some prompts in here, which if you didn't want to use it as a pregnancy one and you wanted to, you could use this almost for whatever you wanted. You could just glue something up over that. I put lots of tabs, but then I provided some tabs of your own. My goal was to have lots of places to write, but even more so, make sure there's plenty of pockets so that you could write your own thing and then tuck it into fold it up and tuck it into the pocket. Keep this beautiful if you wanted, or you're not a fan of your writing. and then have lots of places. There's small places to write that I've provided, but if you had a full letter, that could easily be folded up into that pocket. Gender reveal, did you? Didn't you? How it went? What you think about the whole idea of gender reveal? You know, with people identifying as non-binary later or whatever. I'm not certain how pertinent gender reveal is, but maybe it's just because I live in California and we're all known to be, you know, wild and crazy thinkers or whatever. Baby name ideas. So you could keep some of your baby name ideas in here, your top runners. I don't think you would want to fill the book with all the ideas you had, but maybe your top 10 boy or girl names. Even if you choose a gender neutral kind of name, like Drew, which could go as a boy or a girl, I have found that the individual, if they redefine their gender, always changes their name. In my experience, I'm not, I don't know everyone. Hopes for the birth. So the way you hope it will go. I think envisioning how you'd like things to go helps calm the fear, and it does no harm. And then, of course, again, lots of the positive sentiments. And on this one, there's less lace, less bulk inside, because I did want this to be something that would fit into a briefcase or a satchel, something you could take to the doctor's office with you or carry around. And I could make a custom satchel for it if the person so desired. So here's a card with different first times for pregnant mommies: pregnancy test, food cravings, heard the heartbeat, ultrasound, felt baby kick, and or wore maternity clothes, official maternity clothes, not just your own clothes modified to work as maternity clothes, or your husband's pants, but ones you got from a maternity brand. I thought this might be a nice place for pictures. It would be a little bit difficult to write with, but if you used a marker or a Sharpie, something with wide, I think you could still use this as writing. Writing place, or pockets with places to write. Inspiring sentiments and quotes, or places to tuck things. Oh, you know what? We didn't get to the tooth fairy box. I'll look at the time, and if it's not over 45 minutes, I'll go through the tooth. I love this here, baby shower. So, you know, the plans for the shower, and then you could tuck in a copy of the baby shower invitation in here. My birthing story. I think this is a great place to write or to tape in, you know, tape or tuck in your birthing story, or just clip it into this section here. What I've done is I've added tabs wherever I have journaling prompts or ideas. It might be on the other side, like this one, but if there's a tab, it's somewhere I've marked one of my prompts. And then here's another pocket where I put, isn't that baby cute? Little surprise when you pull the stuff out of the pocket. There's a baby behind there. Yep, that's it, the pregnancy journal. I just think it's the best idea ever. Again, probably because I would have loved one. I don't know if it's just because I was on bed rest for so long and had so much time, but pregnant mommies have a lot of time thinking about the upcoming baby and doctor's appointments and things, and this seems like a really nice, joyful, comforting companion to that. And again, you know, if you're told your close friend or family member is pregnant, this just seems like such a wonderful gift that person would just be so delighted to receive such a thing. Or somebody who's trying to conceive, you know, having this, you could use while they're journaling their temperatures and during that even earlier portion of the journey of trying to get pregnant. You know, I just love it. I think it's beautiful, and I hope someone else will also. And then does it come with with, it's listed separately in my shop, the pregnancy journal, because again, not everybody might want that would want this, and I didn't want to limit my ability to sell my baby's memories journal to someone who also wanted the pregnancy journal. And it doesn't fit in the box. If it fit in the box, they might have stayed together. So what I've done here is I've created an official Tooth Fairy exchange box system that you can use. And I'll suggest some ideas of ways that I would do it. And I'll say Tooth Fairy or the mommy, but I don't mean to exclude anyone else. It's just to be simple. I'm a mommy, I've been a mommy, so that's most relatable to me. But any parent or guardian, of course, could use this. Grandmother, you know, aunt, great aunt. My granddaughter only visits once a year, and she happened to lose her tooth when her mother was going, she has health issues and was at the hospital and wasn't going to be around for overnight and everything. And so even on the rare occasion I see her, there I was as a tooth fairy. So, you know, anybody who knows anyone that might be caring for a small child who could eventually lose a tooth. But anyhow, I think this is another lovely baby shower gift on its own, which is why I sold them separately in my shop. And I've taken a great deal of time to totally cover inside and out with all the tiny little strips of paper and everything, the box, to decorate the box. Inside and out. And then in addition to that, I made an even tinier box. That's the one that's used to exchange the tooth. So it slides out. It's a little matchbox. It slides out, and there's little letters to the Tooth Fairy. And then here's a little bottle you could put your tooth in, or if it doesn't fit, it could just go in the box. Or the mommy can keep this for herself to store all the little tooth in. But I thought when the tooth gets wiggly, or suspected that a tooth might be coming loose, that then you could get a visit from the Tooth Fairy with maybe a reminder to care for your teeth and the little box. And then, you know, later, maybe the little box disappears, you know, with everything in it, the tooth and everything disappears. And then, you know, just the little money and note from the Tooth Fairy is all that's left. The nice thing about this delicate little matchbox is that it keeps it out from under the pillow, which can be difficult for the Tooth Fairy to get at without waking the baby or small child. And by having it on the nightstand, that makes it so much easier. So then the other thing that the Tooth Fairy or baby mom, you know, the mommy has, is that we have all these, like this little Tooth Fairy reminder to brush the teeth. So these could be given at any time, really, to remind the child to care for teeth. This could be the tooth lost, could be circled. It could be maybe the Tooth Fairy's chart to track the ones that she's received. Same with this one. You could circle the one lost, or the Tooth Fairy herself could use it as a to keep track of what she's received. Then there's a variety of little letters to the Tooth Fairy that I've done on cards, so they don't actually need to be in the envelope because there are twice as many letters as envelopes, or quite likely the child will be paying no attention and the mommy can retrieve the envelopes when the child is not looking and is not paying attention. So here's a little award. You could clip this to some money and the Tooth Fairy could leave that behind. Here's another one where, again, the tooth circled could be lost, or a reminder to take care of your teeth could be left. This is a Tooth Fairy exchange official receipt. And then here's one where the child's name is filled in, official lost tooth certificate. And then, of course, you have received a visit from the Tooth Fairy. I just made a tiny little envelope here with a tooth on it, which could be used with one of the letters or your own letter. And then here in the box, I've labeled it with a piece of, you know, a cutout from the kit that I used to make all the ephemera. So this is the kit. If you needed more of the letters or any of these little things, they came from this kit here. So you have the name of it, you could buy it, and you could cut out more yourself. You'd need a color printer, and then I have special paper, things like that. Hopefully what I've provided is nicer than than what you may have, may have access to. But I just think it's so sweet. And can you imagine receiving this as a gift? I didn't have time for this stuff when my kids were little. It just seems that when you have little kids with wiggly teeth, you don't have time to be creating tooth fairy boxes. But I could be wrong. Well, thank you for looking. And if you've made it to the end, God bless you. Well, God bless you anyway. But a special, God bless you for making it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. My returning subscribers, thank you for coming back. And anybody who's new, what a miracle. A new viewer, and you stayed all the way to the end. Thank you so much. Thank you for looking. I will work to link the Etsy listing to the video and the video to the Etsy listing as soon as I can get it all uploaded and running. But feel free to contact me on social media if one of the links is missing or not working or something, and I'd be glad to make sure that it is working. Thank you so much. Have a great day.